On this video, we're going to talk about the forbearance crisis that came out of the COVID-19 pandemic in real estate and what you need to know about it. So last week we talked about the foreclosure issues that are going on and how there's a massive reduction in foreclosures happening and what that means to you as far as buying and selling houses. And this week what I want to talk about is the forbearance crisis, the struggle that we had in forbearances. So what you might be thinking is if foreclosures are decreasing, that's okay. They're probably going to go up because forbearances were massive. So people are delaying their mortgages, they're pushing them back, they're trying to figure out how to pay for them, and they may still be in forbearance. But what the media is not talking about right now is the state of the forbearance crisis, right? So about 2 years ago, we were looking at this forbearance that came out of the CARES Act saying, oh, people are going to go into forbearance. They're going to be a huge wave of foreclosures. And what I want to pull up today is I want to pull up the chart of current forbearances and what they look like. So right over here, you guys can see what this looks like. This chart came from the MBA, the Mortgage Bankers Association. And what you can see is right here around May of 2020. So April, you start seeing the spike in March and April of 2020. That's when the pandemic hit. They kind of like froze all the real estate sales and transactions that were happening. Everybody saw this this opportunity, right, to go into forbearance. Hey, I don't have to pay my mortgage. I can just go into forbearance. The CARES Act came out and said, you can go into forbearance. We have this plan. We have no idea how we're going to get out of it. This is an opportunity, an option for you. What you see is Ginnie Mae loans are this blue line. So Ginnie is the blue line, and those are VA, FHA, USDA type loans. I'll point your attention to Fannie and Freddie also. Fannie and Freddie is this orange line, and then this gray line is portfolio loans and things like that. Primarily what we look at in residential real estate for the most part is this Ginnie loans and Fannie Freddie. So portfolio loan is a loan that a regional or local bank keeps in their portfolio. They don't actually sell to one of the bigger companies like Fannie and Freddie or Ginnie. So Ginnie is government-backed loans, USDA, VA, FHA, and then Fannie and Freddie are these kind of open market loans. So the yellow line here is the total. So what you can see is we can see the blue, we had a spike of about 12% of mortgages. Fannie Freddie were somewhere around 6. So we were somewhere in like the 20-some% range of mortgages that were in forbearance. And what we've seen is 21-month decrease in a row. So the last 21 months in a row, we see a decrease in forbearance. I'll be the first one to say that 2 years ago or a year and a half ago or so, I was looking at forbearance as a potential opportunity for us as real estate investors to be able to buy these foreclosures. But now we see foreclosures going down and we see forbearances going down. And remember, when I say foreclosures going down, make sure you go watch the last video that I did. But what the media is talking about is this massive spike in foreclosures, right? But what's happening really is that we're able to file for foreclosure again when we weren't before. So a quick breakdown of that is we weren't able to file for foreclosure before. Now we are. We have 10 times less foreclosures right now than we did in 2009 and 10 time when we had the last market crash for housing. What I thought maybe was when we look at this forbearance chart, what we're going to see still high forbearances. And so they may be like this wave of foreclosure that's coming. But that's not happening either. With Fannie and Freddie going down for the last 21 months, we're at 0.5%. With Ginnie, we're at 1.38%. So not even 2% of the mortgages out there that are in forbearance right now that could potentially lead to foreclosure. About 95% of the mortgages out there are not in forbearance, which means very, very low amount of mortgages in forbearance, just over 500,000 mortgages across the country. So this is definitely not the rock to look under, I don't think, for the future of what's going to happen and how the real estate market is going to crash like a lot of people are talking about. I'm keeping an eye on this and many other things. So we've looked at foreclosures. We looked at a small increase in foreclosures. We're not even back to pre-pandemic foreclosure levels, not even close. And we're definitely not approaching anywhere near 2008, 2009. And then we're looking at forbearances today. We're not seeing an increase in forbearance. In fact, we have 21-month decrease in forbearance. The next thing we're going to need to talk about is inflation. We're going to need to talk about the increase in mortgage rates. We're going to look at mortgage applications. We're going to look at showings. What are the realtors feeling? What are the consumers feeling? So really really, the plan is to boil all this down in this series to figure out what is going to happen. And I want you to think for yourself. Like, the ultimate goal for me is to figure out how to get you to think on your own. Use this data and look at it every single month. We're going to make some videos coming up about data that you need to look at. Like, what are the 3 or 4 things that you need to look at to tell the output and what's coming from the marketplace, and how to track that. And then also look at some of these other charts, kind of one-off data points to say, what is this telling us? So I'll tell you what this is telling me. This is telling me that people are getting out of forbearance and further away from foreclosure. They have a ton of equity in their house. The market has increased for the last 21 months. So they have massive equity in their house. They don't have to go into foreclosure to pay off their house. A lot of people have refinanced. So a lot of the decrease here came from refinancing and selling their properties. So people that were actually selling their houses are refinancing. The other thing is they're having loan modifications. So they're talking to their bank and they're modifying their loans. All of these things are happening to decrease the forbearance level, which means we're not going to see this massive wave of foreclosure happening. So we've looked at the foreclosures. There's not a ton of them. And now we've looked at forbearance, that there's not a big opportunity and like this opportunity in the pipeline to kind of push a bunch of foreclosures towards us. So what should we be looking at? And I'll tell you, I am going to answer that for you guys on the next few videos. And I'm also going to tell you what I think is going to happen in the market this year. So I haven't really gone on record in the past, but I have some very strong feelings on what you should be thinking about and doing and what I think is going to happen in the market. I'm going to put my prediction on an upcoming video. So I hope you guys enjoy these. I'm going to look at homes for sale. I'm going to look at some local data. I'm going to look at some mortgage applications. I'm going to look at percentage change in sales from a year ago to now. I'm going to look at some different things. My friend Terry Berger told me about the showing index. I'm going to look at that here on the channel coming up. And I'm also going to tell you what you should track, like the one thing that you should track, and then also what I think is going to happen in the marketplace coming up. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let me know what you think. Leave me some comments. What do you think about this forbearance stuff? Is it going to spike back up? Is something going to happen? What do you think? I'll tell you my take on it is we're going to see a decrease and decrease and decrease until people just stop talking about it. And frankly, that's almost where we are right now. Nobody's really bringing this up anymore. And when people were yelling from the rooftop saying this is going to be the opportunity in the future just about a year and a half ago. And so I think it's interesting to watch what everybody thought was going to happen is not actually happening. So that's why I want you guys to think for yourself. I really want to challenge you to think for yourself, think on your own, and try to figure out what all this stuff means for you in your own market that's hyper local and in your business in real estate. If you guys enjoy these videos, I want to make you more. Please subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. If you like this video, tell somebody about it and share the good news. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.